Hi, this is Sally's Book Club. Tune in daily for the world's best books, all Corbiad just for you. On March the 2nd of the 15th year of Wanli's reign, early spring in Beijing carried a chill. Normally, the streets should have been quiet. But at noon that day, officials suddenly received news. The emperor was convening a noon court ceremony. Originally, noon court was just brief imperial meetings attended only by top officials like Zhang Zhuxing, and it had been abandoned for years. With the sun already high, this sudden decree caught everyone off guard, but who dared disobey the emperor's will? Officials rushed toward the imperial city in disheveled robes, completely out of breath. Yet the imperial guards at the city gates knew nothing about it. The palace gates showed no signs of preparation, maintaining their usual calm. Who dared question imperial affairs? Officials exchanged bewildered looks scold this grand spectacle. Just be some absurd farce? Those familiar with Ming history know Emperor Wanli was grandfather to the disastrous Tianqi and Chongzhen emperors. He enjoyed 40-plus peaceful years, the longest reign in Ming history.
But Wanli also holds another record, avoiding court meetings for 20-plus years, leaving his successors a collapsing empire.
4 centuries later, 1587, a year of no significance, opens with this chaotic noon court incident. I suspect modern readers share the officials' confusion beyond mere novelty. At high noon, officials ran aimlessly through Beijing under eerie tension. The author subtly suggests this year marked the Ming dynasty's fatal malfunction.
1587 was the black box recording before the Ming Empire's shipwreck.
Author Ray Huang, a historian specializing in Ming fiscal systems, contributed to Dictionary of Ming Biography and Cambridge History of China. Decades abroad helped him transcend moral judgments, developing his macro-history approach to stimulate perspectives. Hao analyzes 6 key figures: Emperor Wanli, Zhang Zhuxing, Shen Shixing, Hai Rui, Keika Jiguang, and philosopher Li Jicrafting, 7 tragic biographies revealing their doomed fates. After all this talk, you might wonder why specifically the 15th year of Wanli. As Huang himself stated, this was 1587 AD. The Spanish Armada was preparing to sail, while Ming China appeared uneventful to historians. But Wang disagreed. He believed seemingly trivial details were actually symptoms of deeper systemic issues that would determine Ming's fate. So, what minor events happened that year? What root causes did Huang identify? How did these foreshadow Ming's collapse? Let me analyze through 4 key groups to reveal Ming's true state around 1587. Group 1, Founder Zhu Yancheng. Group 2, Zhang Zhuheng and Hai Rui. Group 3, Emperor Wanli and Shen Shixing. Final group, Qi Jiguang and philosopher Li Zi. First, Zhu Yancheng's connection to 1587 seems bizarre at first glance. The Ming dynasty, established in 1368, was already 200-plus years old by 1587. Though rarely mentioned in the book, why did he crucially influence 1587? Hung argues Ming's systemic flaws originated from Zhu's autocratic fantasies during founding. Thus, Ming's governmental stability, or rather stagnation, bore Zhu's personal imprint through his temperament and experiences. Zhu's humble origins bred inherent distrust of social elite. He forced wealthy families to fund Nanjing's walls, drained their resources, and relocated them to Fingyang to disrupt their power bases. Even his original bureaucrat and military allies weren't spared suspicion.
Through two major purges, executing Prime Minister Hu Weiyang and General Lan Yue abolished the prime minister position and eradicated founding allies.
His fiscal policy bypassed central treasury, making Nanjing taxpayers deliver grain directly to 5,000 military households, avoiding systematic financial management. According to Huang's analysis, these actions created the Hongwu model for society, the foundational system, recurring throughout 1587, featuring flattened social structure, minimal government scale, and zero adaptability beyond basic agrarian security. Zhu's agrarian ideals, repeatedly wrapped in Confucian rhetoric, became statminated morality.
Scholars seeking official positions had to embrace this dogma, making Yu the sole moral authority and institutional architectural others forbidden from participation.
He brutally enforced this vision, mandating capital punishment for any official proposing systemic reforms.
But many systems only functioned under Zhu's personal enforcement. Take Morning Court. After abolishing the prime minister, Xu personally handled massive workloads daily. His son, Emperor Yongle, simplified it. Report urgent matters or adjourn. No daily briefings.
By grandson Emperor Renzong's reign, Morning Court became irregular due to imperial health issues.
Eventually, emperors delegated everything to grand secretaries, avoiding ministers for decades.
Yet by 1587 this decaying system remained. The very air officials breathed. Defiance meant political death.
The unchanging ancestral system forced acceptance of its flaws, bodying Huang's macro-historical thesis about Ming's fatal rigidity.
But 1587's court lacked anyone combining Zhu's tenacity, political cunning, pragmatism, and paradoxical idealism.
Now to Group 2, Zhang Zhuzhang and Hai Ruba, social reformers.
In 1587, Yu's staunch follower, Hai Rui, died ill in Nanjing.
Though Zhang Duxingwanli's tutor died years earlier, his political purge concluded this very year. First, Shanga, man of iron will and meticulous caution. During Jiajing's reign, he proposed institutional reforms addressing border crises and treasury deficits. But this memorial never received Emperor Jiaying's approval. For over a decade afterward, he never publicly raised the issue again, focusing solely on his duties. Perhaps this silence earned Jiajing's trust. Zheng later became imperial tutor to both Longqing and Wanli emperors. When 10-year-old Wanli ascended the throne, Grand Secretary Zhang handled state affairs under imperial favor, finally implementing reforms he'd planned for decades. Now, Hai Rui, a moralist who couldn't stay silent. Facing similar crises during Jiajing's reign,
Hai exposed court hypocrisy through his public security memorial, angering the emperor who threw him into the imperial prison.
Hai had prepared his coffin before submitting the memorial, fully expecting execution.
Yet Jiajing died without ordering Hai's death.
Upon hearing this news, Hai vomited blood and wept bitterly.
Zhang's other strength was political maneuvering. He allied with eunuch Feng Bao to oust rival Gao Gong from power. push policies, he secretly instructed local officials to submit pre-approved petitions, censuring smooth approvals and promotions for collaborators.
This became an open secret within the bureaucracy.
Huang argues 1572-1582 saw Ming's revival. Northern invasions ceased. Southeastern pirates vanished. Economy flourished, all credited to Zhang's reforms. Hai Rui operated strictly by principles. Released in 1567, Hai became Southern Metropolitan Inspector, essentially the emperor's anti-corruption envoy to wealthy Jiangnan region.
Usury ran rampant, farmers losing land to loans from powerful official families, ignoring 30% interest caps.
Zhu Yanzhang's system provided destroying powerful clans to maintain smallholder, fairness no corrupted.
To achieve this ambition, Hai Rui believed strict adherence to Ming's founding laws was the ultimate solution.
He even targeted former Grand Secretary Snooze Jiathman, who'd pleaded for his life during Jia Jing's reign. Though Snooze was his savior, Hai confiscated half his land, socking contemporaries. This sparked a litigation frenzy. Peasants flooded courts to nullify usurious contracts and reclaim lands. Hai's office received 3,000-4,000 petitions daily, utterly overwhelming Ming's ministerial bureaucracy.
As Huang noted, Su's system prevented numerical governance. Statistics meant no legal rationality.
Hai resolved cases through moral zeal, rather than legal procedure justice, without due process.
This moral absolutism paralyzed land markets and worsened rural credit crunches.
The crisis defied bureaucratic solutions. More clerks couldn't fix systemic flaws.
After this debacle, the court dismissed. Hai had to tacitly endorse his methods as ancestral tradition. Hai proved ambitious but ineffective.
Both Zhang and He, despite differing competence, operated beyond official mandates. Zhang's actions as Grand Secretary directly violated Zhu's principles of minimal governance.
Officials resented this more than the Emperor Hai imitated Zhu's style, but lacked corresponding authority.
History thrust this stubborn idealist onto center stage against all odds.
After Zhang's 1582 death, enemies accused him of bribery, power, abuse, even treason. His reputation collapsed.
Emperor Wang the complicit, felt deeply humiliated by ministers' revelations of deception.
Ultimately, the emperor reclaimed Zhang Zhutang's title of Grand Tutor, confiscated his property, and severely punished his associates. Due to his past contributions, Zhang was spared posthumous humiliation. His corpse wasn't publicly desecrated, which was considered merciful.
In 1587, Hai Rui died in Nanjing. The constant impeachment memorials against him ceased, and officials from the Ministry of Personnel and Grand Secretariat finally relaxed.
This fanatical man had impeccable credentials and righteous beliefs, but the Ming bureaucracy had no suitable positions left for him. Institutional rigidity forced Zhang Zhusheng to become the very type of autocratic minister. Ming's system prohibited making moral condemnation inevitable. The same rigidity trapped Hai Rui Zhu, Yuanzhang's devout follower, who gained only folk legends like Judge Hai, but no official recognition. At his death, his estate couldn't afford a decent funeral. Zhang possessed Zhu's political cunning. Hai embodied Zhu's moral ideals, yet both failed, tragically converging in 1587's historical vortex.
Without Zhang's competence or Hai's integrity, the Ming dynasty fell into lesser hands.